Right now I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, doing a couple of business deals, but I want to make sure that I'm keeping in really good touch with my YouTube channel and talking about certain ideas around the T14. So I want to talk about this idea or notion behind T14 or bust. I make sure that I give as in-depth of an answer as possible, and I want to make this a caveat by saying this is based purely on my experiences. I can talk about some number situations, but I want to make sure that you guys get the best information you possibly can. I'm sure that I get this video out there. So let's go on a walk in Sandy Springs, Georgia, and let's talk. What's up, guys? It's Julian here. Walking through Sandy Springs at the time, at this moment, get some food. But look, when it comes to the rankings of your law school, does it really matter? I think it does, personally. Primarily because, like, ever since I got into my T14, and I'm waiting to hear back from some others, it's mattered a lot in terms of the connections that I've been making, the opportunities that are being presented to me. It's been kind of strange to think what would have happened if I wasn't able to make my way to a T14 school. Now, that does not push to be said that a lower ranked, strongly regarded school like a Vanderbilt will not enable you to have a successful legal career, right? But there is something to be said about, I think, the mindset of the legal profession, where it provides for certain people a leg up on the school they go to, because the legal profession is very elitist. It is very conservative, right? And it's not really open to, because of its conservatism, what's extending from that is that it's not open to a ton of risk. And it's unfortunate, right, that students who go, who are extremely smart, hardworking, and diligent are going to be ignored by certain schools or certain job opportunities because they don't go to a top university, or a top university as defined by the U.S. News and Ranking World Report. That's unfortunate, and something that I think we should all strive to change. But if the notion is T14 or bust, I don't know if I really agree. Because I know a lot of individuals who went to lower ranked law schools, and because of their diligence and their ability to network, they were able to come out. If they went out, they chose to go to a lower ranked law school because they were debt averse. They came out making $160K, and they probably only took about $90,000 student debt, and that's really impressive, right? I've gotten really good financial packages from schools that are not in the T14, and you know, it's a personal decision, right? I've had to decide for myself that T14 ranking and what that ranking promises is worth the debt. That is something that is a part of my character. That risk taking is a part of me, something that I'm extremely comfortable with. It's not a big deal to me, and I also have a payment plan in mind on how I will tackle this debt. For other people, you know, it's not that easy, right? They want the ability to know, like, hey, if I go in to become a federal prosecutor, I don't want debt to hold me back. That's fair, right? But I think too that there are certain, like, PI meaning public interest jobs, that are very difficult to get if you're not ranked at a certain place within your law school. And that's true too. So I really want folks to understand that your ranking does matter when it comes to big law. When it comes to certain public interest jobs that are super prestigious and very difficult to get. Your ranking counts when it comes to really not high paying but very prestigious federal clerkships. And these federal clerkships can give you $20,000 to $30,000 bonuses when you're ready to move forward, right? That's also true. So I think anyone that tells anyone wherever you go to law school, it doesn't matter because you're just there to learn the law. If your goal is to become an attorney and to practice law, I don't know if there's a reality where you went to law school stops mattering. It might matter less and less. How you doing? Nice dog. It might matter less and less to you, but in the overall legal profession, I think it matters a ton, right? I think the legal world, what it's really based on, what it's really ranked on, people are really measuring is, I think, the prestige of the place you're working, the network that you're developing, and that's really correlated to your prestige, because the more prestigious school you have, the greater ability you have to make really strong connections, and the confirmation backing that comes from going to these places is very powerful. So look, I don't know. I don't know if I should tell you that. I mean, look, you know, I was talking to my mentor, and she said if you're a hustler, anywhere you go, you will find a way to succeed. Now, I don't know if the pandemic, I feel like the pandemic has made me feel very like similarly to the Great Depression generation that has adopted an ultra conservative, ultra cautious view of money, and maybe a bit of an aversion towards risk. And I think that's probably what's happening, and I don't want to put that on anyone else, but I know for my decision making process in the circles that I'm navigating in, educational achievement and prestige are very important tools that will allow people to respect the spaces in which the individual navigates. It sucks, but it's true, right? Let me say something here with this. Sorry, just want to make sure I can cross properly. Okay. Can I go? Okay. So this is just common sense, or this is not common sense, this is common knowledge in the legal world, right? When you go to a school that's lower in rank, not lower in quality, not lower in education level, because look, we're all reading things that have been approved by the system. We're all basically learning the same kind of law, right? Like, we're all getting the same requirements. But when you're learning, but what happens is when you're at a lower ranked law school, what is really counting, right, is how you perform in your 1L year. What's really counting is how are you doing as a student that 1L, 2L, 3L year, especially your 1L year. And really, if you're listening to certain admissions consultants and law school consultants, that first semester is super important. If you go to a lower ranked law school and you don't do well, a lot of those jobs are just automatically, unfortunately, closed off to you. Now, if you do extremely well, right? Hey man, you proved everyone wrong. You did it, right? You can, but that's a really big gamble, right? Because every law school you go to, no matter how low ranked it is, will have brilliant people. You don't do this process without being
an exceptionally smart person. When you're doing the LSAT, right, you're doing the percentile analysis. You're saying you're 70%, 80%, 90%. You're not just doing that like compared to the SATs where you're competing against, you know, kids who don't really care. You're competing against the top of the top, right? You're competing against people with PhDs and master's degrees, let alone undergrad degrees that are desiring to enter into the legal world. So these people not only took the LSAT, they suffered enough to go through the process of getting letters of recommendation. They suffered through the process of sending out the CAS form. They suffered through the process of just simply applying. So look, I tell anyone this: wherever you go to law school, you're going to have very special and unique people. But within the T14 school, if you don't perform well, you still have a very, very high chance of finding the job coming out, based primarily on the prestige of your school. Not only to mention, a lot of the T14 schools have very big endowments, and they have really supportive dual degree programs. So if you want to go to a business school on top of that, a lot of the business schools they have are at least top 14, top 15 business schools. So you can have a really great academic experience. So I just advise people very strongly to really think about where they're going and to not think about the debt as much as they are, because debt is one thing, but if you're gonna go to law school, it's gonna be really expensive, buddy. So take the risk, okay? Take the risk.